Hello everyone, welcome to another race analysis video with Mo Allen. This race I am racing the WTRL Zwift Racing League Open America's Eastern Division 2B on the, I'll show you how you say that, Douce France route. This is 24.8 kilometers, 132 meters of elevation. This is my first ever points race, second ever WTRL or Zwift Racing League race. The first one being the team time trial last week. So this week we have several team members from the watts per kilogram team as well. We have 6 of us racing, including my coach. We all have a goal to hit on this race. Mine was to try my best to come in as high as I could, but preferably top 10 first across the line on the sprint segments, the 3 flat sprint segments. So this points race is broken up into 4 segments, each of which provide 2 opportunities for points. One is being first across the line in that segment, in each of those 4 segments. Points are given for the first 20 riders across the line in a descending value. So the first rider across the line for a particular segment will get the highest number of points. The last rider across the line of the riders who get points will get the least amount. So the 20th rider gets 1 point. The first rider gets 20 points, I believe. So we had an aspirational goal for me being the one with the most power, flat, raw power among the team, to try to just hang with the group until the flat sprint segments and then position myself well and put down some power and try to be at least in those top 20 riders, if not in the top 10. Other people had other goals, but those were my goals. The other point you can get is first or fastest through the segment. So if you happened to instead of coming first across the line in the segment, if you happened somehow to have the fastest time through the entire segment from its start to its finish, then you get points for that as well. And you could be the same rider to get the top position on both of those. We were not concerned with the FTS, fastest through the segment, points, but just trying to get the first across the line points. We also did not realize that there were points awarded for finishing position. So that was a bit of a miss there, because you'll see, spoiler alert, at the end that I did not, after a certain point, keep up the pace to finish in the highest position I could. So that was a bit of a missed opportunity. But so here we are, 2 minutes 45 seconds in, averaging 313 watts. If you watch that average, that is going to continually climb up as I try to hang with this front group. It was uncomfortable being with this front group. I did a Z2 ride on the Tour de Zwift, I think stage 3 short ride, the night before. By the way, this is being ridden on a Tuesday night at 7:30 p.m. And that Zone 2 ride I did, I felt sort of weak through. I think I'm still feeling the effects of two things. One, my epic race that I did on Sunday on Bigfoot Hills, which was a big one, 70 kilometers and almost 3 hours, with warm up and cool down. So that, plus I had a odd food craving in the last couple of days, and I did not prevent it. So I was eating some things that I normally don't eat. So I think both of those things, just a little bit of fatigue, a little bit of diet, contributed to just a bit of weakness. So I was doing my best here to try to stay in the top front half of the group. Just keep an eye on the front. We weren't looking to follow one or two or a small number of riders that got off the front, but to stay with the larger group, obviously, unless there were 20 riders that got off the front, and you're then in danger of not achieving your goal at all, because you need to be in the top. I needed to be in the top 20 riders. So you can see a couple riders off the front here, and us not really reacting to that. Maybe one rider off the front at this point. So here we are, 5 minutes in and up at 330 watts average. I had watched a video of someone else do this exact race in an earlier time slot, so I was aware of sort of when the segments came, how the riders in that particular race reacted when they started winding up to get ready for it, what kind of breakaways there were. So I had a pretty good idea of what to expect, which I'm sure helped, but it was quite a struggle to stay with this front group. So here we are at 333 watts, just a minute later from being at 330 watts. So I was just trying to gather myself here. There wasn't really a lot of time to think about things here. And I was also just trying to watch where the other riders on my team were. We were talking on Discord, the team, so you can see a little group up front, and one or a number of us, not me, but have the sauce extension running, so they were able to tell how many riders were up the road, and if we were in danger of losing out on points because of it. You can see some winding up here. One thing I was a little pleased about is that this group of riders didn't go as hard up the little inclines as the riders in the video that I watched from the earlier race. So I was happy with that. And if they had, I'm not sure I even would have been able to. I mean, I probably would have been able to stay with them, but my sprint would have been even worse than you're about to see that it was. The sprint, this was a very, very good education in group sprints, especially when points are on the line. I had never done this before. I'd watched it, a lot in professional races, but I was way out of my, no pun intended, league here in terms of positioning and understanding how much to put out at certain times. I mean, I'm sure, considering, and here we are, 343 watts at 8 minutes, 343 watt average at 8 minutes. Given the output relatively early, it was always going to be tough, even if I was more experienced with where to position myself. But I definitely could have done better with positioning by the time the sprint came. I've said it before, but those rider names that come up in the black banners obscure the front of the race. So it was tough to understand when people are going, at least for me. That's one of the things that I struggle with sometimes, is knowing who's in front, looking, being obscured by those banners. So nothing new, but still just something to deal with. By the time the sprint came, which we'll see, I believe, coming up shortly here. By the time the sprint came, I got caught out. I made a couple mistakes, not only being out of position, but like ramping up too early to try to get back into position. So here we go here. You can see me ramp up there just to try to, once I realize that it's going down. You can see how everything's obscured here. I had no idea how many riders were up there, really. I just got caught out. And plus, my sprint power was relatively low. I barely got over 800 watts, which for me is not that great. So there were just a number of things contributing there to a poor sprint. And then I was concerned, okay, once that's over, even before the race, I was concerned, once the first sprint is over, am I even going to be able to stay with the group, And so you can see a bit of the struggle here, being at the back and just getting back into the group. So the next challenge is the Aqueduct KOM. And my goal was not to contest for that KOM, but to try to keep contact with the front group so that I could rejoin them by the time the next sprint came, which was my next goal, the next flat sprint. So here I'm just trying to get back in the group. I make it back. I think our coach at this point had told us that the entire group had rejoined at this point. So here I'm just trying to gather myself and recover as much as I can for the Aqueduct, which I knew was going to be, I was feeling it at this point. I was not feeling strong after that first crappy sprint for a number of reasons. And then knowing that, the Aqueduct KOM in this direction, I don't know if I think it's the reverse direction. It's relatively short, 35 to 45 seconds or something, but if the group was going to go too hard, I knew it was going to be tough for me to keep contact with them. So that's what I'm thinking of now, just trying to regain myself and see what I can do on the sprint, on the Aqueduct KOM. So here, as we approach the aqueduct, the group is winding up. You can see it stringing out, and me pushing up near 500 watts, just trying to stay with the group and being at the back. This did not feel comfortable here at all. So I'm already losing contact before the climb even starts, really. So here I try to give it a good, I pop the power up and try to give it a good effort, see how long I can put down some power going up, but I was not able to really put out what I needed to keep contact with the group. So this is basically my race done here, being back in 50th place. I mean, for me to achieve my goals, I would have had to have been up in 20th place at least, so after finishing this, I'm wondering, okay, if they let up at the front a little bit, as is inevitably going to happen, maybe I can keep contact again. But one, I'm just not able to put out enough consistent power to make it back to them. And two, I don't know that they didn't let up. I never saw the front again, but they were going too fast for me. So this is essentially my race done here. I did push even more than I should have. At this point, us not knowing real time that there were even points available for the finish, I should have just shut this down into a zone 2 ride and rode relatively easy to finish. So me even pushing with this at this wattage was not advisable. I figured though that I would try to, stay with the group and at least benefit from some draft, but this really there was no reason for me to be pushing even as hard as I was here at this point. This was a real education here. I look forward to feeling stronger in the next race. I know the ups and downs happen in terms of fitness and feel and fatigue for races, so I know that will change. I'm looking forward to learning a little more about the tactics of where to position yourself in the sprint as well. This being my first points race, I'm happy to have done it. Looking forward to the next one. I do plan to race as many of these WTRL round 3 races as I can. It's kind of hard with there only being one time to race, this 7:30ish p.m. time on Tuesdays. I've been able to do it for the last couple of weeks, but we'll see. Hopefully, I'll do as many as I can, try to finish the WTRL season strong, but it was a good ride. I'll let you watch until the end. Again, I didn't even realize that points were available to the end, so I do at a certain point just shut it down to Z2, and we're talking with the team to bring it home. My coach, unfortunately, he got us our only points for the team. He got 7 points for us across 2 segments, which was excellent. He had to deal with several dropouts in his connection as well, so he could have done even better if he wasn't dealing with those dropouts. So, congrats to the entire team. We had a mix of categories racing, even though this is the B category. We have racers from B to C to D riding with us just to get the experience. So, congrats to the team. Thanks to the coach as always. My coach's information is in the description at watts per kilogram. Check him out if you're looking for some triathlon specific or swim, run, and or bike specific training. I appreciate you all watching, and I will talk to you later.